Long ago, when the world was created by the three golden goddesses, they left behind the Triforce. In the heaven, an artifact capable of granting the desire of whoever possessed it. It was entrusted to the goddess Ilia, who swore to protect it. But even under her protection, it attracted the attention of evil beings who sought its power. One in particular became obsessed with it, desiring to rule the world. That man was Ganondorf, king of the Gerudo, later known as the incarnation of evil, the Demon King. For countless generations, he has sought the Triforce, only to be defeated time and time again by a chosen hero. Yet his lust for power is so great that he always finds a way to return, eventually even becoming a demon himself. But what drove a man to such madness? And how did Ganondorf become the entity we know now as Ganon? Hello everyone, it's me, Pentagon Valimar, and welcome back to Chronicles of Hyrule. I know it's been a while. I've been focused on Trails and Genshin lately, but episode 3 is finally here. Today we're diving into the full story of Ganondorf across every timeline, the main antagonist of most Legend of Zelda games. Everything began thousands of years before Ganondorf's birth. After the creation of the world, peace reigned until a fissure opened in the earth. From it emerged an army of demons, led by the Demon King Demise, who sought the Triforce. Protected, Ilia raised the land and the alien into the sky, creating a barrier between them and the surface. With the remaining grace, he fought Demise and managed to seal him within what would later be known as the Sealed Ground. Though stripped of his true form, Demise remained a threat. Ilia knew the seal won't last forever, so she prepared a plan. One day, a chosen hero would rise to defeat him permanently. Even still, Demise's influence lingered, especially through his sword spirit, Jiraiya, who sought to resurrect him. Years later, Jiraiya found Zelda, Ilia's reincarnation, and attempted to capture her, but failed thanks to Impa. Meanwhile, a hero named Link descended to the surface and encountered Demise's imprisoned form, repeatedly resealing him with the Master Sword. Eventually, Link obtained the Triforce but arrived too late to stop Jiraiya from reviving Demise in his true form. In the final battle, Link defeated him, but before dying, Demise cursed them. His hatred would be reborn internally, an incarnation destined to pursue domination and clash endlessly with the blood of the goddess and the spirit of the hero. And so the cycle began. Centuries later, Demise's hatred was reborn as Ganondorf's Quagmire. Among the Gerudo, an all-female tribe, only one male is born every century. By tradition, he became their king, praised by the twin witch, Kume and Kotake. Ganondorf mastered powerful magic and became one of the most dangerous sorcerers. in Hyrule. Under his rule, the Gerudo grew fear, raiding and killing without mercy, not all following him willingly. Some, like its general Naburu, opposed his cruelty. Ganondorf came to despise Hyrule. While its people lived in prosperity, its own endured the arch Gerudo Desert, a wasteland plagued by sandstorm and an unstable climate. To him, this was injustice, and conquest became his goal. When he learned of the Triforce, his ambition turned into obsession. He then entered the Hyrulean Civil War, which ended a decade later with the kingdom unified. However, the Gerudo were confined to the desert. Ganondorf saw this as further proof of Hyrule's disregard for his people. Bringing loyalty, he swore allegiance to the king of Hyrule to gain access to the kingdom and information about the Triforce. What Ganondorf did not realize was that Princess Zelda thought through him and was preparing to act. With the help of a young Link, he tried to secure the spiritual stone first. Meanwhile, Ganondorf launched his own plan, attacking Hyrule Castle and killing the king. Zelda managed to escape with Ocarina, thanks to Impa help. Ganondorf then pursued him out of Castle Town. The other side of the bridge, Zelda encountered Link and threw the Ocarina of Time in the water next to him. Then, for the first time, Ganondorf met face to face with Link, but being a young boy, he managed to knock him out of his way. He then continued his pursuit, but at some point stopped its chase and turned back. He waited for him to open the door of time. And when Link drew the Master Sword and fell into slumber, Ganondorf seized his chance. He entered the Sacred Realm, but the Triforce split, granting him only the Triforce of Power. Still, it was enough for him to finally conquer Hyrule. Ganondorf conquered Hyrule, which became a world of chaos. He destroyed Castle Town, corrupted the land, revived an ancient monster, and plunged the kingdom into darkness. The sorcerer also searched Zelda to get her Triforce piece, but never found her. 7 years later, Link awakened and began freeing the sage. After defeating Ganondorf's forces, including Kumi and Kotake, he joined Sheik in the Temple of Time, who revealed herself as Zelda. However, it was a mistake, as Ganondorf found her immediately and brought her to his castle. With the help of the sage, Link managed to succeed in every trial, and in the end came to confrontation against Ganondorf, confronting him in his castle. He was ultimately defeated, but used his full power to transform into Ganon, the Demon King. After a final battle, he was sealed in the Sacred Realm. Before disappearing, he swore vengeance upon Link and Zelda descendant. From here, the timeline splits. In the child timeline, Link returned to the past to warn Zelda. Ganondorf was arrested and taken to the Arbiter Grounds, where he is sentenced to execution. However, the Triforce of Power saved him. He killed a sage before being banished to the Twilight Realm for thousands of years. Still, this was not the end of of Ganondorf. In the Twilight Realm, a Twili named Zant served in the royal household and believed he would be the next ruler. His kind were wary of him, fearing his ambition and desire for conquest would lead to a disaster, and therefore rule went to Midna. Zant, as he bemourned his rejection, looked at the heaven and found an answer to his prayer: Ganondorf. He manipulated Zant, consumed by ambition, and granted him power. Using his newfound power, Zant overthrew Midna, turning her into an imp and depriving her of the magic power it was granted as leader of their kind. Zant then invaded Hyrule with his army and attacked the castle. Zelda surrendered to protect her people, and reluctantly gave into the legitimate monarch, the man. Darkness spread once more, but another hero rose. With Midna helped, Link defeated Zant and learned about Ganondorf. He later meet him after raiding Hyrule Castle. Ganondorf confronted Link by possessing Zelda, then turned into Ganon Beast form, but Link managed to defeat him. Enraged, he took the form of an immense veil of fire in the shape of his disembodied head. Midna valiantly resolved to fight Ganondorf, using the Twilight magic housed within the fused shadow, teleporting Link and Zelda to the safety of Hyrule Field. Unfortunately, she was no match against Ganondorf, who bested her easily. Back into human form and on horseback, by final confrontation, the battle finished with a final duel against Link. In the end, Link emerged victorious by plunging the Master Sword into Ganondorf's open wounds, prompting the latter to scream in agony. The Triforce of Power began to fade from his hand. In his dying breath, Ganondorf warned that the cycle would continue. Century later, Ganondorf was reborn again among the Gerudo. This time he sought power through Forbidden Relic, stealing a trident and using a dark mirror to summon demons. He transformed once again into Ganon. Hyrule was engulfed by darkness. Thinking the Dark Sorcerer Vati was the cause of this, Zelda gathered the 6 Shrine Maiden to renew the seal upon Vati. However, that's what Ganon wanted. He sent Dark Link, who scattered the Shrine Maiden with his power. To defend them, Link had no choice but to take the Force Sword, which released Vati to his prison. Seeking revenge, he began to cause chaos into Hyrule. Through deception and manipulation, he used Vati as a distraction while executing his own plan. He defeated the Knight of Hyrule and transformed them into demons, turning the royal jewel into gateway to the Dark World. Ganon imprisoned the Shrine Maiden to absorb their power. At some point, Link managed to rescue all the Maiden and learn the truth about Ganon. By retaking the jewel from the Knight, he went to the Tower Winds, where they fought Ganon and Vati. The 4 Links succeeded at destroying Vati, and then an intense battle against the Demon King began. Inside the Dark World, the Links nearly lost, but thanks to Zelda Light Arrow he managed to shoot Ganon and gave him the final blow. He was then sealed away in the Forest World as its new prisoner. When Link defeated Ganon, he was sent back to his past timeline. Zelda and the Sage then sealed Ganondorf within the void of the corrupted Sacred Realm, along with the Triforce of Power. The Triforce of Wisdom remained in Zelda's possession, but because Link didn't exist in this timeline anymore, the Triforce of Courage was shattered into 8 shards, scattered across Hyrule. Zelda also returned to Master Sword to the Temple of Time. Age later, the Seal of the Seven broke, freeing Ganondorf from the Sacred Realm. With the power of the Triforce, he engulfed Hyrule into darkness once again. However, this time no hero appeared to stop him. The King of Hyrule and his people only hope was to pray and plead the gods for deliverance. Suddenly a huge deluge happened, stealing the entirety of Hyrule and Ganondorf himself underwater. The mountaintop became island, and this new world was named the Great Sea. As for the Triforce, the part of wisdom was split in two. One piece remained with the king beneath the wave, the other with his daughter the princess, who ascended to the new world. The Triforce fragment passed on to her namesake, from daughter to daughter. Beneath the wave, Hyrule remained frozen in time. Hundreds of years later, Ganondorf finally escaped to the surface world. He was sure that no hero could defeat him. He killed the Sage of Wind and Earth, which reduced the Master Sword power. Seeking to regain the Triforce of Wisdom, he rebuilt an army and sent his minions, the Elmarok King, kidnap young girls with pointed ears and blonde hair, hoping to find Zelda's descendant. One of the girls who got kidnapped was a Link of this era's sister, and so he set out to rescue her, but the fortress she was in was mostly impossible to infiltrate. However, thanks to some pirates' help, he succeeded. But when he reached the cell of his sister, Ganondorf, hiding in the shadow, commanded the Elmarok King to hurl Link into the sea. Link survived and returned after gathering the Master Sword. He defeated the Elmarok King and saved his sister. However, he did have a chance against Ganondorf, as the sword lost its full power. Link had no choice but to escape back to Hyrule Castle. When Link was away during his mission to restore the Master Sword power, Ganondorf searched for Zelda, and with his Triforce of Power, he detected the Triforce of Wisdom location, and saw Zelda. He kidnapped her and brought her to his old tower. He then waited for the hero to come, as it was part of his plan. When he arrived, the full Triforce is reunited. Just as Ganondorf was about to claim ultimate power, the King of Hyrule intervened, wishing for Hyrule destruction. Enraged, Ganondorf attacked Link and Zelda, but he was defeated, turned to stone, and left beneath the sea. So in both child and adult timeline, he met his end. But what would have happened if Ganondorf would win against the hero of time? Well, let's continue. During his final confrontation against the hero of time, Ganondorf, who became Ganon, managed to kill him and take back all the Triforce pieces. As a last resort, the 7th Sage, led by Princess Zelda, sealed Ganon in the Triforce within the Sacred Realm, which later would be corrupted and called the Dark World. It was now a twisted copy of Hyrule, born out of his avarice. Over time, the evil power that came from the Sacred Realm transformed greedy beings into monsters. Those monsters then attacked Hyrule. And so the king ordered the 7th Sage to seal the entrance to the Dark World. Thanks to the assistance of some knight fight, the Horde, the Sage succeeded. However, it was only a setback for Ganon, as he still had a plan to escape. After centuries of peace, Ganon managed to create an alter ego outside the Dark World, a wizard named Agahnim. With his appearance in Hyrule, unexplained catastrophe began to occur. Thinking it may be linked to the Sage Seal, the king investigated it, but found it to be intact. Desperate for answer, he offered rewards for anyone who could find the source of Hyrule trouble. Agahnim then arrived, out of nowhere, and with his mighty magic, stopped the catastrophe. As a reward, the king gave him a new position as chief advisor to the throne, and he was proclaimed as a hero. However, that's exactly what Ganon wanted, as he had now the power to manipulate the king and abuse of his power. At some point, Agahnim didn't require the king anymore and killed him to take the crown for himself. He then brainwashed other Hyrule soldiers with dark magic and ordered to capture the young maiden, descendant from the 7th Sage. He wanted to use their power to break the seal of the Sacred Realm to free Ganon. 6 of them were sent successfully into the Dark World, and the last, Princess Zelda, managed to ask Link help by telepathic plea. Link then entered the Hyrule Castle, freed the princess from her prison, and took refuge into a sanctuary. The hero then went on a mission to restore the Master Sword, the only weapon that can stop Agahnim. It didn't take too long for the latter to discover where Zelda was hiding, and brought her back to the castle. Having the last maiden back, he succeeded to complete his ritual, and thus sent her into the Dark World. It was a matter of time now before the seal was completely broken. When Link finally arrived, it was too late, and had to challenge a wizard. Although the young hero managed to injure him, the Dark Wizard suddenly drew Link into the Dark World, saying he's not truly defeated yet. Agahnim then returned to Ganon Tower, continue his plan of resurrection. He didn't know though that Link survived, and began to free all the maidens, including the princess. When he succeeded, Link dispelled the barrier, sealing off the tower and climbed it. Agahnim challenged the hero again, but this time the Dark Wizard was killed for good. A faint image of Ganon himself suddenly appeared and escaped to the Pyramid of Power. He then waited the hero for his final battle, and he revealed Agahnim was his alter ego. After an intense battle, Link ultimately vanquished Ganon. The young hero soon recovered the full Triforce, and made a wish to restore Hyrule former glory. And so it was the end of Ganondorf's existence in this timeline. Millennia passed in Hyrule, and once again an incarnation of Ganondorf was born into the Gerudo tribe. He became both their king and a hero to his people. Using his authority, he demanded the conquest of more fertile land, while silencing those who favored peace. Eventually, he turned his eye toward Hyrule itself, and attempted to conquer it by force. Ganondorf used a Molduga as a diversionary attack on Hyrule Castle, while a small Gerudo force infiltrated the kingdom. However, the royal family used the secret stone relic to stop the invasion. Realizing brute force will not work, Ganondorf decided he needed to deceive his enemy and earn their trust instead. He ordered his royal attendant, Kumain Kotake, to kill the Gerudo soldier involved in the attack, so the alien would believe they were merely renegades. However, a Korok and a construct spared them. Despite this setback, Ganondorf saw another opportunity to conquer Hyrule from within and learn more about the kingdom. Leading a Gerudo delegation, he met King Roru and pledged his allegiance to Hyrule. He expressed regret for his action, and even praised Roru's union with Queen Sonia, an alien. Believing Ganondorf had changed, Roru accepted his pledge and secured peace between the Gerudo and alien. Now that he had gained the king's trust, Ganondorf became fascinated by Queen Sonia and her secret stone, a relic he desired for himself. He also noticed a mysterious girl named Zelda among the royal family and began taking her into account. Ganondorf created a phantom copy of Zelda and ordered Kumain Kotake to study the Zonai construct. He used one construct as bait to lure Roru away from the castle. Meanwhile, his Zelda phantom drew Sonia into a secluded area, where Ganondorf attempted to assassinate her. Sonia initially stopped the attack, believing she had outsmarted him. But the real Ganondorf suddenly appeared and mortally wounded her. With Sonia's secret stone finally in his possession, Ganondorf's power greatly increased, transforming him into the Demon King. This transformation unleashed hordes of monsters, born from Fountain of Gloom. Roru arrived in horror, and was immediately taunted by Ganondorf. Completely overwhelmed by the Demon King power, Roru followed Zelda's advice and ordered everyone to retreat. Hyrule was now at Ganondorf's mercy. Fighting across the kingdom, he commanded an endless army of monsters to destroy the old world and create a new one under his rule. Villages across Hyrule fell, including those of the Gerudo themselves. The surviving sage, led by King Roru, eventually confronted Ganondorf, but even together they could not defeat him. In the end, Roru chose to sacrifice himself. While the sage distracted the Demon King, Roru closed the distance and impaled Ganondorf with his Zonai arm, using its power to bind the Demon King beneath Hyrule. Before sealing him away, Roru promised that one day a swan man would come to finish what he had started. Ganondorf then fell into a deep slumber, bringing an end to what became known as the Imprisoning War. Over countless ages, its existence slowly faded into legend. Although Ganondorf remained sealed beneath Hyrule, Hyrule body gradually decayed, and the seal weakened. As a result, Ganondorf Malice spread throughout the kingdom, and eventually manifested as Calamity Ganon. The Calamity took control of the Guardian and other ancient Sheikah technology to create a body for itself. Monsters across Hyrule became more dangerous, and the Blood Moon began resurrecting the dead. With this new army, Calamity Ganon devastated Hyrule, killed the 4th champion, and nearly defeated the hero Link. Link was placed inside a Sheikah healing chamber for 100 years, before finally awakening and defeating Calamity Ganon alongside Princess Zelda. However, the battle weakened the seal even further. It was only a matter of time before Ganondorf awakened. A month later, Link and Zelda discovered an ancient ruin hidden beneath Hyrule Castle. There they found the true source of Calamity Ganon gloom. A mummified corpse restrained by a mysterious arm. Eventually the arm power faded, and the corpse awakened. Ganondorf immediately unleashed a massive blast of gloom towards Zelda, which Link intercepted. When Link attempted to fight back, the gloom entered his body, badly injuring him, corrupting his arm, and decaying the Master Sword. Ganondorf mocked Link as weak and incapable of opposing him. He then triggered an event known as the Upheaval, causing Hyrule Castle to rise to the sky and chaos to spread across Hyrule. After retreating to his lair, Ganondorf monitored Link's progress through Phantom Ganon and the spread of gloom. At times, he even communicated telepathically with Link and the new sage, revealing his identity and giving them vision of dark future intended for Hyrule. When Link finally confronted him beneath Hyrule Castle, Ganondorf explained the world he wished to create under his rule. Using the power of Sonya's Secret Stone, he restored his original form, and an intense battle began. Although Ganondorf proved himself immensely powerful, Link ultimately defeated him. As a final act of desperation, Ganondorf swallowed his secret stone and transformed it into the demon dragon. Even then, it was not enough. With the Master Sword, Link finally destroyed Ganondorf for good. So that was the story of Ganondorf and his reincarnation. I didn't mention the first Hyrule warrior, as it's not really part of any other timeline. I also think he appeared as Ganon in the old Zelda cartoon, or from the first Zelda game, but there isn't that much story there. And I never watched or played, so... Anyway, that's mostly everything about the Demon King. As you can see, evil always returns, whatever you do to vanquish it. So this is not the end for Ganondorf, and probably never will. At least as long as Link and as Zelda exist, Hyrule will always be safe. Now let's end this with a question. Which version of Ganondorf or Ganon you like it the most? Please leave a comment. I would like to know. If you enjoyed this video, don't forget to subscribe on this channel for more lore video. Aside Legend of Zelda, I do lore about Genshin Impact, the Trail series, and soon Final Fantasy XIV. Also doing Genshin Impact and Trail series, theory speculation video. If interested of my gaming, I'm doing live stream on Panagon Vanimore gaming channel on YouTube or Panagon Vanimore on Twitch. Link and my social are in the description. And I go live most evening around 7 PM EST. If you like to hang out. Thanks for watching, and may the goddess watch over you. Pan Dragons offline.